If you're not pushing, you're falling. Like consistency. Like that's because in order for you to get the best results, you have to be consistent. That's a top two priority. You got to be consistent with that just in other areas of life. If you want a good body, you got to be consistent with the workouts. If you want to have great health, you got to be consistent with the dieting. If you want to have great teeth, you got to be consistent with the brushing and the flossing. So I think the consistency has shown me in podcasting that you need consistency in other things in order to like proceed in life.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the People's Choice Podcast. This is episode 40 of my interview section. I have a great special guest here. I'm here with Tyson Robinson. He has his own podcast as well. It's called Tyson Vibes Podcast, hashtag Vibes to Success. I really like that. That's actually really catchy. So please.
Appreciate it. It took a while. It took a while to come up with that one.
Yeah, I was actually gonna. That was actually one of my questions I was gonna ask you was where the name come from. So we can jump right into that.
I was really hot on Clubhouse, the Clubhouse app, in 2020 and 2021. And one of the guys on there, like I joined an entrepreneur group, and one of the guys on there he's known for like marketing and branding and like just like company wide, like just he was the marketing guy. And before he like left the group because he had other things to do, he said, "You know what? I think you should go with Vibe to Success." And he gave us reasons why, and I loved it because my podcast needed a call to action. That's what it was like, and he just helped out with that, and we just stuck with it and just ran with it.
I like that a lot though, for real. Because when I first was talking with you, if I put myself out there in the podcast group, and I was like to success when you sent that to me. I was like, damn, that's catchy. Because people always like, what's the vibes, or I'm feeling your vibes,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, my show, I just want to, it's a vibe. It's just a vibe. We just chilling. We're relaxing. Nothing strenuous. I'm not pressing you for clickbait information or anything. It's a vibe.
Definitely, man. And I checked out a couple of episodes, and I definitely got that right off the bat. Like, I watched the one. I didn't watch all of it, but I watched most of it. The one with the lady that was had that book on Aaliyah. I was like, man.
Oh, Kathy.
Yeah, I was like, man, this is really good. And I watched the whole thing of the one that she did with Jennifer Nicole. Mm-hmm. And she was a lovely lady. I actually just followed her not too long ago.
Okay.
So I was like,
okay. Shoot though.
Like, I know, right? Just a little. But that's like my podcast about. I just love interviewing great people and just having great conversations. And a lot of times too, with a lot of my interviews, I don't really script anything. Like I don't even send questions in unless my guest asks for it.
I mean, my people say, "Can you send me questions, please?" Like some of the more like notable people, they want questions. I got to talk to the PR person. Like,
I've had only like 4, maybe 5 people that was like they want to see like everything, but like with you didn't ask for the questions, so I'm like, oh, this is great. I just feel like I'm at a better, like it just flows. It don't feel so forced. Now there's not wrong with that. So for my future guests to see this, but anyway, I'm just gonna So Tyson, where are you from, and what was it like growing up there?
I'm from Virginia. I think I was born in a Richmond hospital or a Midlothian hospital, one of the two. It was in Chesterfield County. So I was born in Virginia, spent all of my childhood in Eastern Virginia, to be specific, Chester, Virginia. And then we moved to Chesapeake, Virginia, which is 757, which is where Allen Iverson and Michael Vick are from.
Hey, shout out.
And so I was an athlete guy. I did track and cross country all throughout school. My grades were average. I was a 3.0 student. Graduated high school with a 3.0. So track and cross country got me a scholarship to Troy University. Did 2 years there. Hated it. And then I'll leave it at that. Transferred back to a closer school at Norfolk State University. I did track the first year, and then the last year just focus on school. Graduated there with like a 3.4 or 3.5 or something. And then I just moved out to Washington State. I graduated at Norfolk State in 2019. And then a couple of days later, I graduated May 4th, I think 2019. I want to say like 4 or 5 days later, I moved out to Washington State. So I'm out here now, just working out, doing a podcast, doing other things, just expanding my like knowledge and everything.
Awesome, man. What was that transition like going from Virginia to Seattle?
It was a confusing transition because people, how can I put it? I all I knew before moving out here, all I knew was Virginia and the Virginia ways and the Wawas, the food lines and everything. And then just being out in Washington, people out here tend to have more resources out here, and people are more, I would say, open minded out here in Washington State as opposed to Virginia. Because sometimes Virginia doesn't hide their racism. Like in Virginia Beach, I'm not calling that area racist, but there's some prejudices there, and different other places. But in Washington State, there are some areas, but the open mindedness and the progressivism outweighs the racism.
Definitely, 100%. Now, actually, I know we talked a little off camera about my friend. Her name's Layla. She's out there in Washington, and she said the exact same thing. That was from like episode 10, and she was telling me how open minded they are and how
Yeah,
active they are too with like the news. Like she was telling me about some of the protests that was going on. So
yeah.
yeah, I
Oh
think
yeah,
that's.
yeah. It was big protest. It was protest season out here in Washington State, and I was moving to Issaquah during like the main Seattle protest. It was on a Saturday because I remember that young girl. Hope she's doing better now. She got her eyes or something, mace or something.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I remember that too. It was rainy, dark. I went to Walmart getting all the things I needed for my Issaquah apartment, and you know that's when that's when it went down.
Hmm. It's crazy, just the world we live in, man, and just how things. It seems like things are progressing, but then at the same time, it's going back more and more. And I don't want to turn to that kind of podcast. I don't want to be all depressing, but it's crazy. That's just the reality how things are sometimes.
Yeah,
Uh,
and I was thinking about this the other day because I was just outside actually earlier. America used to be like a fun place. America used to be fun. Like
hmm
it wasn't as stressful and meticulous as it is now. It seems like everything is dissected. I remember being young and I didn't like really care what people look like or anything. Like we all just had
Same,
fun. Sporting
same.
events, whatever. Like you would call like the white people like your brothers and sisters and they would do the same. Like it was just fun. Like we didn't
hmm
have to worry about the stuff that we do now. Like
Yeah, I remember them days, and to some people, they probably would say those days never happened, like just because depending on what area they lived in. But I come from that same way, It's like I'm not a racist person. I don't see race like that. But it's sad that there's certain like states and towns that do and will judge you completely just from the way you look. It's ridiculous.
right.
So, what inspired you to make your podcast?
So I was pissed off by the George Floyd murder. I'm forever going to call it a murder, and I just wanted to get my thoughts out. I was at an apartment. I wasn't really as close with my roommates, which is cool. So it was that and also on top of the fact that I wanted to create something. I wanted to be innovative because I'm in my 20s. I want to maximize my 20s as much as possible. I'm 24. I turn 25 on Christmas Eve next month, and
Happy early birthday.
appreciate it. But I just want to make the most out of it. So I just started talking, started recording. It sounded sloppy. I think I did three takes. Three takes. The third one, I finally got it. It sounded sloppy. I didn't know what I was doing. Made a title and then just put it out there. And the reception was pretty good
hmm
because it was centered around social justice. I maybe did post the current event podcast for maybe 10 episodes. And then I just got to the point, it's like, okay, people may not be, I don't want to be known for this. So I interviewed my friend who's a photographer out here, Jerica. Hey, Jerica, if you're listening. And I like asked, can I interview you about your photography business? She said, sure. And that was literally my first interview. It's called like Learning, like episode 11 or 13 or something, featuring Jerica Cologne. And the reception to that was good. And then someone close to me told me, you should stick to interviewing people. And then from that point on, I've just been finding people to interview, and I just focused it on people with businesses. It was primarily people with businesses, but then I switched. Okay, I'll start taking on entertainers, athletes, just singers, everybody. So creators. So like I've just been doing it from there, just giving them, we vibing. Like just tell me about your business, that type of thing.
That's what's up, man. Because like that's literally like the same thing I do here. Like, and I had that same mentality when I started my podcast, where like it's when you say photographer, and my second guest was actually a photographer and a filmmaker. So I think like we are very similar. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But it's cool though because like having all these different guests from these different backgrounds, like I feel like I learned something, not just me, but like I get hit up from my audience, all my peeps. They be like, man, like I never knew that. Like like
Yeah. Hmm.
photographers or filmmakers, I have models, actors on here, and they're like, I didn't know that. I didn't know the details on it. So
Well, I would say
it's
right now, one of my biggest regrets, every young like African American like guy thinks they're going to be like some sort of athlete. Like a lot of us think we're going to be like some sort of big time athlete. One of my biggest regrets is not taking like media seriously. I want to
Mhm.
say when I was in college. Because if I started this podcast, if I was like still in college, it would have been easy to get interviews. That's easy, like
Definitely.
all night, all day. But I didn't have a steady income like I do now, or incomes like I do now. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's like my biggest. I was naive. I was hard headed. I was. It was sports, sports, sports. But I learned my lesson. You gotta learn it the hard way.
Yeah. That's like one of my guests said. Boy Amani, he see this. He was on my sessions section, and he was like, "Man, yeah, I was young, dumb, and full of cum. Think I know everything, you know."
Yeah, we used the
And
we used the as black people we use the "I'm grown" thing. We can't wait to use "I'm grown."
mm-hmm.
I'm a grown man.
So as soon as we pay a bill, I'm grown. Can't tell me what to do. Like we waiting.
Yeah,
That's for all my young peeps out there. That's all I'm always my peeps, but for all my young peeps out there, it's not what you think. All right, I promise you. You can slow it down. Being grown ain't all that because,
Mhm.
um, like I remember. Damn, I'm trying to remember this quote that I heard, but it was saying like based off like being grown, but like in a way like just because age doesn't make you grown. I'm kind
Yeah.
of messing up the
Experiences do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Experience make you grow. It's not the age, not even how much money you have in your bank account. It's just the experience, how you carry yourself.
Yeah.
Man. So with you starting your podcast around the George Floyd murder, and all the way to this day, what do you think has been the most challenging thing about podcasting?
The thing with podcasting is I'm not a clickbait, a TMZ type of guy. Like I have no issue with being consistent, whether it be workouts, work, podcasts, and that's not the issue at all. Sometimes the issue is that people aren't tuned in because it's not gossip. Like,
Yeah.
what about feeding your brain with some positivity? And I kind of stirred
Amen.
away from it some. Like with the Aaliyah book because some of the questions I asked would have made headlines. About some like her history and everything, but
Yeah.
for the most part, like my show is informative. It's about people's businesses, and I bring on a lot of more women than men, so I can give. I want people to like see like women creating businesses. Sometimes
Mhm.
black women. So that I think that's really important. And it's just like it's hard to gather people's attention when you're not with the nonsense.
Mhm.
I think that's probably the most difficult because I've been in groups on Instagram or Facebook where I would drop my link and maybe one or two people would engage with it. But if another person dropped their link, which has nothing to do with anything that would lower people's IQ, it got so much engagement. It's getting like replies back. It's like,
Mhm.
come on, guys, really?
Yeah. That's just one thing that's frustrating even with me because like I'm saying we almost the same. Like I don't really just have like the clickbait stuff like you said, like the controversial stuff. I'm not talking about what Cardi B's doing or the baby drama he got going on now. So
It's
I'm
scary. It's going to be really scary for guys like me and you because we going to
mhm.
have to like change our character or something.
I was actually just like talking with my brother about that. Like I'm like, man, because there's some podcasters that can't even like no offense to them, but just they can't even touch us. Like the way we interview, the way we're actually feeding knowledge to people, but
Mhm.
yet they're getting the opportunities and stuff because they're talking about stuff that's clickbait. What Kanye's doing, what Drake's doing, stuff what's going on in the hip hop community, stuff that's going on. But they're not talking about like real stuff like businesses, like we talking about from ground zero. We had guests that lost it all, but then gained it back, or then some. But no one clicks on that. No one even shares it.
Mhm.
And it's kind of sad, but one thing I learned, I just gotta keep staying true to myself and my vision and just keep pushing it out there. And I'm thankful for the peeps that I do got in the following. So yeah, and I want
Me
you to
too.
continue to do the same thing, yeah, man, because I really like your show for real.
I
And I'm
like
gonna
your
try to
show.
catch up.
I love it. I love like the people you bring on. Like I heard one interview with a coach. I thought that was pretty
Yeah,
dope.
I
Yeah,
appreciate that. Yeah, yeah, that was
but with,
Coach Stone, I
mhm.
think.
Yeah,
Yep.
was that the episode? Which what number are you on?
Um, I'm on
Third.
30. That's posted. I believe 37. Yeah, no, 38. I'm sorry, 38. That
Okay.
is posted. Yeah. So I
I
got one I did
mhm.
already. My
I
bad.
think it's important for us to establish that we're never going to stop our podcast. I'm never going to stop it until if a bigger opportunity presents itself and the details are right, I might stop it and go pursue that. But I don't think I'm ever going to stop this because you can't kill the creativity in me. That's one thing you can't do.
Amen. And I was going to ask, what is one of the most exciting things about podcasting? Since we talked about the hardest, the most exciting thing that you get from podcasting?
Sometimes at night, when I like to myself and make like pour a glass or something, like, or when I'm buzzed with something, I really think to myself, wow. I go on Apple and like I really have a podcast with like cover art and everything, and I'm consistent with episodes. Like I used to watch people do this. I'm literally one of these guys now.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think that's sometimes you gotta be like, wow, or this video did X amount of views. Like, oh, like look how consistent I am. This looks kind of like professional now. Like,
Yep.
although the numbers aren't in the thousands and millions, but I think that's one of the most exciting things.
Definitely, man. And it's going to get there. I'm telling you. I could already see it. Not that I'm a mind reader or see the future, but like I know just the consistency and the hard work, and I am real impressed with your artwork, the way you put people out there. I was like, damn, I need to start doing that, man. That's dope.
Bro,
Like
Canva is so clutch. Like I can just do someone's artwork. I
facts.
just need a picture. Like when you come on my show, like I'm just gonna ask for a picture. It's easy. It's simple. I'm stuck to a design. I want to keep that design for maybe like 50 more episodes. Then I'm gonna switch it up again. I'm always like designing and switching up my podcast to give it a new look.
Definitely, man. Shout out to Canva. I use Canva myself too for my borders. I haven't really
Are
fully
you
started.
$12 a month like me or
Yeah,
11?
I'm the 12. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yep. It's cool. I advise all podcasters to try to use Canva if they're not already, because there's so much. I haven't even tapped into everything, and I'm blown away. So, what's one thing you think you've learned from podcasting that applies to your everyday life that has really helped you out?
If you're not pushing, you're falling. Like consistency. Like that's because in order for you to get the best results, you have to be consistent. That's a top two priority. You got to be consistent with that just in other areas of life. If you want a good body, you got to be consistent with the workouts. If you want to have great health, you got to be consistent with the dieting. If you want to have great teeth, you got to be consistent with the brushing and the flossing. So I think the consistency has shown me in podcasting that you need consistency in other things in order to like proceed in life.
Amen to that, man. Definitely, amen to that. And also seeing that you're an author too, that you got some ebooks out there on Amazon. It's
Oh yeah,
pretty impressive.
I created. Thank you, I appreciate it. I created an ebook on how to like podcasting 101 for beginners. It's like the basics of why you want to start, the equipment you need, the software you need, some of the laws and everything. It's just a simple book. It's $4.99 on Amazon, and then everything else are poems. Like I engaged in wordplay for a good minute. I'm gonna say last month. I had this burst of creativity. I went hiking one day out here in Issaquah at Poo Poo Point, and I just had this like burst of creativity, and I just got it on Microsoft Word and just started typing, and then you gotta transport it to Calibra, or something like that, and then I posted on Amazon KDP, and then it's just like poetry. It's like you would think it's a rap, but no, it's just poetry.
What's up, though? I really admire you doing that, man. Because I've had a few different authors up there, and it's crazy because that's like I can ask the authors I've had on my show the same
Hmm.
question, and I'll get different answers. But it's like it's crazy to think how different people are wired and what like motivates them to write or inspire them. And how long have you been writing?
I literally just started this like last month. Like it was
Oh
just a
wow.
burst of creativity. It's maybe I don't know how many poems I have on Amazon, maybe 7 or 8 or something. But
Mm,
I originally first started like typing when I was transferring from Troy to Norfolk State and I had a lot of free time, I did a little short story called Sunny Days Ahead. And it was like a goofy little, it was like a Tyler Perry knockoff about the mom having an affair and all that. And I remember doing that and then sending it to a few friends to see what they thought. And it was just goofy, but I was surprised at how well the story turned out. So I picked it back up with a burst of creativity last month and just started typing, you know.
You think you
And
see
people may think it's goofy, but it's a source of income, you know. Like if
yeah,
you look at Money Twitter and they'll tell you that you need to learn how to write, how to communicate this, that, and the third, and how to sell your writing and online and how to make it profitable. Like that's literally a route.
that's true. I was gonna say, do you see yourself maybe down the line, maybe writing maybe movies or scripts or anything like that?
I played with that idea. I texted a friend of mine in out in Seattle about it, and she said, "You know what? I could see that for you." But I was like playing with it, but I didn't know she was being serious. But you never know. If I don't, I won't be mad. If I do, that'll be exciting. Um, because
Definitely.
I believe the best results come from when you're isolated, like, and when you're like just when you're crazy in the head. I don't think crazy is an insult at all. Yes, I am crazy, like, because I have so many ideas just floating in and out inside of my head. If you're saying I'm crazy, you're acknowledging that I'm not like the rest of you, which is perfectly fine. You see what I'm saying? Like it's
Definitely.
okay. It's okay to be different. And okay to be a loner, which is why I love Tyler the Creator because he's different. You see how people are
Mhm.
just he has a lot of fans now, but a couple years ago y'all were calling him corny.
Corny, weird.
Yeah.
Well, he ain't gonna last long. I actually seen a clip of his that was surfacing around that he did a radio interview. I think he was on Hot 97, and he was like, people were saying that to me back in like 2010. He's like, where the fuck is everybody at now? All
Mm.
those same people that was on top, and y'all saying I was gonna fall off and call me weird and all this stuff. And I was like, wow, because I had to go back and think about like who was on top around that time, and where it had come.
2010,
Yeah,
Kanye, Jay, Nicki Minaj, Drake was
hmm
coming. Yeah.
Drake,
Mhm.
Bruno was just coming out there, B.O.B. So it's like a lot of those people, but like the ones that are still on top, like Drake, but the others they still there, but not as at that level they were at. And it's like Tyler steadily always had that momentum and daring to be different. And I encourage anybody to be different. And like I said,
But
crazy's good.
and back to your question, if I do decide to write a script, a long script, the spirit would have to force me. I would literally need to make it a number one priority after work every single day to start typing maybe 5 pages a night. But who knows? Because I've done things I thought I would never do. I thought I'd never do a pod. I thought I'd never interview Kevin Ross or some of the people I interview. Like anything is possible.
And to that, keep your mind open. And like I said, I like that you said, the universe, you spiritual person.
Definitely, definitely.
Feel you on that, man. And I know that this is gonna be a hard answer
hmm
that I ask, but I have to ask. So, for you and your show, I know as a podcaster myself, we love every episode, and of course, there's something we gain from it. But which one is your favorite episode that you feel like new viewers from maybe my world or just new people that's just tuning around should check out from you?
Let me see. You know what? They're all so great to me. I don't think I've had problems. No one's ever given me attitude when I interviewed them or like talked or acted as if it was a waste of time. Everyone was grateful. Um, dang, I don't know. I let me refer back to Kathy's episode. I thought
Mhm.
that was pretty cool. I thought that was pretty big. Just learning more about someone we lost at a very young age. I thought that was a big. So I don't know which episode it was, but with Kathy Iondele with the Aaliyah book, but I thought that was pretty huge for me.
Definitely was, and I'm almost finished watching that. I was watching on YouTube, and I was just really impressed. And I could tell,
And
like, man, like you,
people were tripped up by the last question about because I asked her that last question because I know Kathy is a spiritual person because I follow her on Instagram and she does her spiritual thing on the story. So I get a laugh when people say that last question was stupid, but okay,
yeah, now I gotta check it out. I gotta see what that last question was all about.
yeah.
Man. So, I know we've been dropping bombs literally like all episode on like for like fellow podcasts. When you said you even got a book out there, what do you feel is one of the big like message or advice that you can give to either a new podcaster or one you feel that's kind of like plateaued and just isn't going anywhere?
I think it's important for new podcasters or people who've plateaued is to be yourself. If you are a nerd like me, then just stick to the nerdy things. Do not try to talk about things you know nothing about. And don't you can't break code when it comes to podcasts. I noticed in black podcasters it's a lot of like name calling this and the third, but you would never say it to that person's face if y'all were like one on one. So it's important for each and every single podcaster to be themselves. Like, don't be something that you're not. Do not be the gossip of the clip. Like, if that's not who you are naturally, then don't force yourself to be it. Just let it naturally flow.
Definitely, man. And I really feel like that's a lot of podcasters should definitely take that advice, man. Because who could be you better than you? And
Right.
people can see through when you're not real, you're not genuine. You know, they can see through it. That's great advice, man.
Definitely. You a Steelers fan?
Yes, big time still a fan.
Steelers fan.
Big
Okay.
time. Are you still a fan too?
No, no, no. I don't really watch NFL as much, but I used to be Colts.
Okay,
Um,
okay.
yeah, I grew up in the Peyton Manning era. You know, when he did great in the regular season and started choking in the postseason.
Man, I was just talking to a friend about that.
I remember in '06. I remember
Mhm.
'06, January '06, I think, or February, they lost to the Steelers like 21-18. I remember that game. They were
Yep,
supposed to win that game, but Steelers had like the best defense in the league that year.
yep. That was the year we actually went to the Super Bowl and won too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had to go against you guys in the AFC Championship game. Yep.
It was second round
Oh, second. Yeah, that's right. Yep, that's right. You're right.
because
Yep.
I remember that season because we were 14-2. We had the first week off and we were ready to man.
I could talk football all day because that's one of my favorite sports. I actually, truthfully, really grew up a wrestling fan, and like I was
The
die
Attitude
hard.
Era.
Yeah, man, I grew up off that, loved it. Even a little bit the ruthless aggression era, but attitude era, man. There's not a wrestler I can't even like not name and storylines I remember, and people they laugh at me for that. I don't care. They
What
already
year was
know.
it when The Rock threw Stone Cold off the bridge?
That was 97, end of 97, beginning 98,
Okay,
somewhere around there.
you sure not 2000?
I remember 2000, Austin left because he had that neck problem. They did that storyline with Rikishi running him over. You
Okay.
remember that? Because he got dropped on his neck from Owen Hart from that pile
I
driver.
don't remember that one, but okay, okay.
Yeah, he had some bone spurs, so they ended up it just caught up with him where he lost like feeling in his left side.
Mhm.
So they had to write him off his like TV and stuff. I remember that. But yeah, that The Rock, man, I still love The Rock, man, because just the stuff he does in the gym, the motivation.
Yeah, I'm
He's
trying to get big like him, but the thing with me, I need to like eat some more. Sometimes I don't feel like eating. I just gotta force myself. But
the protein, man.
I'm over 200. I'm like 5'9", but I'm more like muscular though. I'm like probably '09 right now, 210 or 208.
Oh, we the
But
same. We the same height, 5'9". I'm a lot
yeah.
bigger, but like as far as weight, but 5'9". But it's funny we mentioned wrestling and stuff because actually, I'm about to do a review not too long, like in the near future. So all my peeps, yeah, another review's coming, but it's gonna be with Kurt Angle's chicken snacks. It's a protein-based chicken snack, and he has all different types of flavors. I have to send you it once we finish this up. But there's some good stuff, and a lot of people talk about it like really good. It's got 70 grams of protein per pack.
Hmm.
It's a good little source and all the flavors. Anyway, sorry, I'm rambling all over
No,
the
you good. You
place.
good. You
My
good.
bad, man.
You good.
All right. So for your podcast,
Hmm.
what not what, I'm sorry. Uh for guests, who would you love to have on your podcast? Like if it could be anybody in the world and why?
I would love to have more authors because I know authors have fan bases, and that would be
Mm-hmm.
good for like the CPMS and everything. But I want to pick the mind of an author because I know an author is if you're an author, you have to be super nerdy, you have to be creative, you have to be creative. If you
Mm-hmm.
wrote those Harry Potter books, there's something special about you. Was that J.K. Rowling or I forget.
I forget.
I yeah, I forgot. But if you're creating, if you're writing series, you have to be. There's something about you. You have a story to tell. You don't really like abide by society's norms in a
True
way.
that.
So I definitely would like some more authors on the show. I'm cool. I had a basketball player on from Australia not too long ago. I'm cool with like the athletes because I know it's agenda time. And someone's probably going to have to review the questions. Now with the basketball player, I sent him the question. He said everything was fine because I didn't really press him about anything like super serious or anything. But
Mhm.
when you get to like more notable people, you got to deal with PR and what questions can fly, which can't. Like I'm cool. That's not
Mhm.
what my show was built about. We're literally just vibing to success. Like just tell me about your business or your craft or what you do.
I feel you on that. I actually was emailing back and forth Dan the B7, former UFC world champion back in like the early days of UFC, and been trying to get him on the show, and we've been going literally back and forth. We're talking with his PR people, and talking with him and sending all these questions. So I know how that could be. It depends on the person, and I get it because they have their brand, they gotta protect themselves. They want to make sure it's worth their while.
Yeah,
That you have a good following. Money. To pay them for their time. But yeah, it can get crazy.
yeah,
So,
definitely.
so with you being so creative, and I know from you doing, dabbling into poetry and podcasting, so you're always a busy man, and then probably with your outside life. But like, what do you do on your downtime?
I've gotten into reading a lot more. I made it a habit to read at least 10 pages a day because that's essential. That's what gets me going. That's what gets everything going. Reading is kind of like water. It's multiple benefits. Um, I don't think there's a thing as too much reading. Well, I guess you can get analytical about everything. I guess if you read too much, but I don't think there's like too much reading. I like doing that. I like lifting weights because you got to stay strong at all times possible. You never know what's going to attack you, especially as black men such as ourselves. We got to learn how to like defend ourselves and be ready for any possible attack. That I like. I'm an introvert. I get my energy from being an introvert because I charge when I'm alone. I have a lot of alone time just to recharge and refocus and recalibrate and everything. So you're not going to see me outside as much or at all. Now, there's like a friend's birthday party on a Saturday. I'm going to attend, and we're going to have a great time. But yeah,
And
but I'm introverted that likes to lift weights and read and this podcast.
that is just it's just crazy because we are very similar, man. Like I'm the same way, and I have
And
like a
that's
lot of my
okay too.
friends.
And we don't
That's
need to be
true.
outside because you're not supposed to waste your 20s. Like
100%. And I've had friends though, like they're like, "You doing a podcast? You talking to people like that? Like what? You're the most quiet person I ever. So it's
mm.
funny that you say that though, because I'm literally like the same way. Do you ever get that question too from like some of your friends or family? They're like, I can't believe you're doing a podcast, or you're out here thing. You're an introvert.
um, nah, because it's not it's not like out of the norm because this is 2021. Maybe like 5 years ago, I probably would have got of, oh, you doing a podcast? Like people know by now that I'm doing a podcast. My biggest support comes from like strangers and friend, like not really family as much, not like close family because everybody has a perception of how they want you to live your life.
Definitely, man. And it's crazy because I have a conversation with my family a lot, but they always ask like who's some of your biggest supporters. Like my sister, she'll ask me, and my brother, and I tell them like I gotten a lot of love from people that's in different countries more than people I ever like went to school with or ever worked with or anything like that. I got people
Yeah,
from Australia and Italy and all over that's just sharing my stuff. That's constantly like putting good vibes out there, and it's crazy the love that you get from just others.
yeah, yeah.
So I got two questions I always try to ask like every guest because I just always love the answers that I get. So like one of them is what is a hidden talent of yours that maybe your friends, family, or even your podcast fans don't know about you?
Hmm. I think it's talent. It takes talent to wake up really early. I'm a 4 a.m. guy. I think that's a hidden talent that not too many people have. I don't have an attitude waking up early. I don't think any guy or
Same.
grown person should have an attitude waking up. Like I'm a 4 a.m. That's a talent. That's a hidden talent.
That's what's up. That's actually the first time I've heard that. Somebody
Yeah,
saying
like
that
it's
live.
really a
That's
talent that not too many people can acquire. Like
mhm. That's so true. And I just think about uh, Lola Bay. She's pro wrestler I interviewed, but I've known her before she became a pro wrestler. And I remember working with her even back to when we was working fast food, and she used to hate working in the mornings, like coming up. And I'm always just
The
ready,
mornings are
happy, go
beautiful.
lucky. Yeah, like I
It's so
love the
peaceful,
mornings.
not too many people. Like, but I noticed West Coast people like love mornings more than East Coast people. East Coast people are just hate the mornings.
Yeah, that was her. She would come in just
West Coast people
talk
would
to me.
take their dogs out. I was hiking one morning at 5 a.m. The dude, it was dark still. He had his like Rockwaller out on the hiking trail. Like, okay,
That's that's what's up. And I
yeah,
feel
but
like
you gonna walk in front of me because I'm not gonna walk in front of you because then it looks like I'm being hunted down. Like,
true that. And my next question I like to ask people, my guests, is what's your favorite quote or even saying that you lean on during the good times or the bad times?
um, I don't have one per se because I'm fascinated by all quote. I don't live by a certain sentence or a certain mantra. I just it's a call. I just feel it. I'm ready. There's no words to describe it. So I'm sorry. I don't have a favorite quote or a mantra or saying anything. But what's yours?
Oh man, I got so many to be honest. One that always come to mind, and I don't know why it's always come to mind, but it's just I just really like it. I heard it one time from Jake Roberts when he was like, "I was taught long ago that you could speak softly. No, if a man has enough power, he can speak softly, and everyone will still listen." Because, and I think that generates well, I guess, maybe with the podcast world, because sometimes you see some of these podcasters over the top, screaming, cursing things out, just trying to really get the attention. But then you see some people that's like pretty chill and mellow, and there's some people that's really,
I
not
think
even to be
hold on,
like
wait,
that.
wait, wait. I think 2021 will go down as the most craziest year in podcast history. If you think about everything that's happened in podcasting this shit, this is the craziest. Who never fan? But it's like what?
That's so true. That's true. And speaking of 2021, I think this is a good time to actually ask you how has your year been? I know we're still in this pandemic and stuff. How's things over there in Washington?
In Washington, we're back open now, but we have to wear face masks. We were on lockdown during the pandemic. The essential businesses were open, for people to shop and just get the essential services. I didn't lose my job or anything, because insurance is an essential business. So thankfully, I still was able to keep my job, and we played it safe. We listened to our Governor Jay Inslee. A lot of people like him, a lot of people dislike him, but he's still our governor. We still have to like obey the laws in the state of Washington. So we listened to him. There were some surges, there were some declines, but eventually, slowly but surely, we opened back up. I forgot the name of the plan that he presented, but we were able to open back up slowly, like to phase 3, and then I think like phase 2. But if COVID gets out of hand again, he's going to like say, "All right, we're back on lockdown."
Mm-hmm. That's what's up. That's kind of like our government over here in North Carolina, and a lot of people don't like him. A lot of people do like. It's. I feel like when you're in like that politic world, like you gotta have thick skin because you're gonna have a lot of
Just
people that's
just for
not
the
gonna like
silliest
you.
reasons, yeah.
A lot of people that hate you want to try to kill you. Then you're gonna have people that really love you and ride hard for you.
Hmm.
So,
Always.
where do you see yourself? I would say in the future, let's say 5, 10 years from now, because I feel you got so much potential, and I'm not even talking to you for what, like 38 minutes. So, where do you
Thank
see yourself?
Appreciate that. Appreciate that. I'm going to still be doing the pod. I'm not giving this up. Like I would have to die for me to give this up. I still will be doing the podcast. I probably will have better equipment, better lighting, better microphone, and everything. I'll be interviewing probably more notable people. My numbers will be up. I'll probably have more sponsorships. It will just be an advanced version of Tyson's Vibe. Like I like where I'm at now, but there's always room for improvement. Always, because there's always something we don't know. Because you want to be studious at all. Like there's always something we just don't know. You always want to open your mind to new possibilities.
So that's 100% true. And where can all of my peeps and new listeners or watchers, depending on how they watch this,
Mhm.
can find you on social media?
Okay, so I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Tyson's Vibe. That's TYSONSVIBE. IBE. You can listen to the podcast on YouTube and just type in search bar Tyson's Vibe Podcast. I'm at like 102 subscribers right now. And then just search it on Apple or Spotify or Google Play or Radio Mac. I forgot the name of that one, but just type in Tyson's Vibe all together. TYSONSVIBE podcast. And then you should be able to find it. It's a black and green theme.
Oh yeah, you can't miss it. You really can't. And I like that. It stands out. And I'll definitely put the link in the description for all my peeps and stuff. People can click right onto you, man.
Thank you for having me on today.
No problem. I mean, the pleasure's all mine. You've been a great guest. Is there anyone that you want to shout out and give thanks before we wrap up here?
Yes, they're probably. I'm gonna forward them this episode, but shout out to the Thompsons and the Sanders, for looking after me and giving me a lot of, wisdom, courage, love, and opportunities.
And Tyson, I just want to say thank you again for being a part of the show. I wish you much success. I can't wait to be on your show.
Definitely. We need to get together after this recording.
Oh yeah, definitely. So, any last words you want to give to any peeps or listeners, or any advice?
Please be yourself. Do not fall into fads. Continue to be yourself. Be who you were meant to be. Don't force anything. Let life just happen.
That's what's up. I think that's a great spot to end it. Hey, Tyson Robinson. Thank you.
Hey, appreciate it. And
we are out, my peeps.